Welcome to Insider's Viewpoints, JavaScript Best Practices. In this video, we will listen to several web application professionals discuss best practices from their experiences with JavaScript. Can you share with us some best practices from your experiences of working with JavaScript?
Okay, I want to share 3 best practices that I've learned over the years working in this field, especially with JavaScript. So first is use of IDEs. I love using something like VS Code or WebStorm to write code. The content assist and being able to look up functions and documentation and classes all within the same editor is very powerful to me, and it's very effective. It makes me a more productive developer. My second advice would be to use linters. So if you're new to JavaScript and you don't know what linters are, they help you write standard code. Now, I don't mean standard in terms of ES6 standard, but this could be standard in terms of how your team decides to write functions and documentations. And this is very important when it comes to version control and resolving conflicts. It makes your life a lot easier. And finally, my third tip would be to learn the different paradigms and patterns in JavaScript. So assuming you're using JavaScript for your front end and or back end, learn how to modularize code in JavaScript. Learn how to then import structure your code so it's easier to unit test. Structure your code so it's easier to import other packages into your application.
So working with JavaScript has changed a lot over the years. It's actually pretty robust nowadays, and there's a lot of tools you can use for it. I definitely would recommend linting your JavaScript. One really great tool that I personally use is called XO, spelled XO. It's a great linter that has some great default set, and you just run that on your code, and it makes you follow specific standards, styles, so that you and everyone on your team make sure that your code looks good, but also hopefully reduce the amount of bugs and confusion in your code. I'd also recommend using TypeScript. It's a wonderful addition to JavaScript that often can just be plonked right on top of a current JavaScript project without needing to change much code at all. And then you can add a whole significant set of features onto your code to make it much better.
While working with JavaScript, avoid declaring global variables and functions. Global variables can slow down your program since they are not deleted until the window is closed. Also, scripts that include same variable and run after your code will override your variables. In order to reduce page load times, place your JS at the bottom of your page, especially if the purpose of JS is to add functionality after an event occurs. When declaring lengthy for statements, declare variables outside of the for statement. You should also optimize loops. For example, instead of reading the length attribute of an array at every iteration, store the length value in different variable. Always comment important sections of your code so that you or your colleagues can understand the purpose of the code when you need to revise your code.
So when writing JavaScript, I really like to take advantage of the features in ES6 because it can make my code look cleaner, easier to read, and just more beautiful, such as the arrow functions or the ... operator. And so I encourage you to, after learning JavaScript, dive into ES6 a bit and have fun with it.
One best practice for JavaScript developers to keep in mind is to avoid the use of global variables. You might have heard this advice for other programming languages as well, and the reasons there apply here as well. But with JavaScript specifically, the risk of name collision is quite high. So it's very common for developers to include their code as well as third-party libraries on the same page. And all of these scripts will share the same global context, which means if you happen to pick the same name for a global variable as one of those third-party libraries, basically one or both of your programs will not work.
JavaScript is a very powerful language. It lets you do pretty much anything you can imagine. including shooting yourself in the foot if you're not careful. The practices I typically follow with JavaScript include proper scoping of variables and functions, and writing unit and integration tests for my features.